Clint Eastwood was sitting discreetly in a small classic restaurant in Los Angeles, enjoying a quiet moment. His signature hat and sunglasses weren't enough to hide his iconic presence. It was then that he noticed a touching scene. A mother struggling to pay for her son's birthday lunch. What Clint did next unleashed a chain of kindness that no one could have predicted. But before we dive into this story, tell me, where are you watching from? Write your city or country in the comments and subscribe to the channel, because tomorrow I'll bring you another story made especially for you. The afternoon wind was cool when Anna squeezed Lucas's small hand as they walked to the restaurant. She observed the sparkle in her son's brown eyes, a childlike energy that, at that moment, was the only thing keeping her hope alive. "Today's my day, isn't it, Mummy?" Lucas asked, holding tightly to his small cowboy print backpack, an impromptu gift from last Christmas. "Of course, champ. Today is all yours," Anna replied with a forced smile, adjusting the strap of her bag on her shoulder. This trip to the restaurant was the closest thing to a celebration she could offer. As they walked, Anna did mental calculations. She counted the coins in her wallet, trying to figure out how to stretch the money. The weight of guilt grew in her chest. She wanted to give Lucas more, but lately all she had to offer were promises and an immense effort to appear optimistic. "Will there be cake too, Mom?" The question made Anna almost stumble. The boy looked at her with a wide, innocent smile, showing off the little window left by a freshly fallen tooth. "Today's your day, champ," she said, crouching down to straighten her son's jacket. "But remember what we agreed. We can only choose one thing, and you chose lunch. It's going to be special, okay?" she said softly, afraid of disappointing him. Lucas nodded, but Anna noticed a slight glint of frustration in the boy's eyes. "It's okay, Mom," he said, looking straight ahead. He was too young to hide his feelings, and Anna's heart squeezed. She watched every detail, the way Lucas jumped over the cracks in the sidewalk, the way he smiled at anything colorful in the shop windows. It all reminded Anna of how hard she was trying, but was it enough? 5 years ago, her life had changed completely. Lucas was just 2 months old when his father decided he wasn't ready to be a father. Since then, Anna has faced loneliness, exhaustion, and the pressure of being everything to that little human being. Lucas was her strength, but even the most solid foundations sometimes shake. "Mummy, are you tired?" Lucas asked, noticing her slower pace. "A little, but nothing's going to stop me from taking you out for a special lunch," she replied, squeezing her son's hand even tighter. When they finally arrived at the restaurant, Anna stopped at the entrance. She opened her wallet once more, $6.45, enough for a children's combo and a small drink. She closed her eyes for a moment, took a deep breath and straightened her shoulders like someone preparing for an emotional battle. Lucas's eyes lit up when he saw the colorful menu. He pointed excitedly at the pictures. His excitement was contagious. "Can I order that giant plate of chicken noodles, Mom? It looks really nice." Anna smiled and pretended to analyze the menu, even though she already knew exactly what they were going to order. "Of course, champ. Let's make this day the best ever, okay?" She squeezed her son's hand tighter than she had imagined, as if that gesture could keep her firm. They entered the restaurant together, and Anna prepared to hide her sadness behind a smile. What she didn't know was that in a few hours something surprising would happen, something that would not only make Lucas's birthday unforgettable, but would change the course of their lives forever. The smell of hot, spicy food filled the air as soon as Anna and Lucas entered the rustic-style restaurant with a classic Western feel. The place was relatively empty, which made her feel a little relieved. Facing difficulties is easier when there aren't many eyes around. Lucas held his mother's hand tightly, enchanted by the huge menu hanging above the counter. "Look, Mom, they've got that giant chicken noodle," he exclaimed excitedly, pointing to a colorful picture of the dish that came with soda and cornbread. Anna smiled and nodded, even though she knew she could only pay for the simplest dish on the children's menu. They approached the counter, where a young waitress, visibly distracted, greeted them with an automatic look. "Good afternoon. What'll it be today?" "We'll have the children's grilled chicken combo, please," Anna replied, forcing a smile. She looked at Lucas and added, "And a small soda, eh, champ?" "Yes, Mom. And cornbread too." Anna swallowed dryly, trying to hide the tension crawling up her neck. "Sorry, honey. The cornbread isn't in the combo." She leaned in a little, trying to soften her son's frustration. "But the chicken will be delicious. You'll love it." Lucas pouted, visibly disappointed, but didn't complain. He just watched as the waitress typed in his order and walked away. Anna felt a tightness in her chest. She wanted to be able to say, well, yes, to everything her son asked for. But today she couldn't. When the order was ready, Anna carried the tray to a table near the window. Lucas sat down excitedly, wiggling his little legs under the table. Anna placed the plate in front of him and settled down, holding only a glass of water. She didn't have the money to order anything for herself, but that didn't matter. What mattered was seeing Lucas happy. "Aren't you going to eat, Mom?" he asked, frowning as he opened the small pot with rice and chicken. "No, my love. I'm not hungry," lied Anna with a smile. "Seeing you happy feeds me from the inside." Lucas watched her for a moment, as if trying to understand, then shrugged and started eating. Anna smiled on the outside, but inside, she felt empty. It wasn't just hunger. It was the weight of realizing that even happy moments came with sacrifices. While Lucas ate, Anna noticed the stares coming from the surrounding tables. An elderly couple looked at her with tenderness, but an elegant woman gave them a cold, almost judgmental look. Anna pretended not to notice, but she knew this kind of look well, a mixture of compassion and criticism. Lucas, on the other hand, was pure excitement. He talked about school, his friends, and his big dream. "I'm going to study fossils, Mom, and I'm going to take you to see a real dinosaur." Anna let out a light laugh. "I'd love to, champ. I'm sure you'll be the best paleontologist in the world." She wanted to believe in a future full of possibilities for her son, but it was difficult. The overdue bills, the accumulated rent, the lack of a steady job, everything hung over her like a heavy cloud. But Lucas was her light. When he had finished the last piece on his plate, he looked at Anna with his eyes shining. "Now we can eat the cake, can't we, Mom?" Anna's heart squeezed. She had been preparing herself for this question, but it still hurt. She took a deep breath and answered as calmly as she could. "Remember what we agreed, love? There was only one choice. And you chose lunch, remember?" Lucas's expression changed. His smile slowly faded, and he stared at his empty plate. "But it's my birthday," he murmured, in a tone so low that it was almost lost in the air. Anna held out her hand. "I know, my love. And you're the most special boy in the world, even without a cake." Lucas didn't reply. He just nodded, but disappointment showed on his face. Anna felt the sadness rise inside her like a high tide. But she kept smiling. She couldn't fall apart. Not there, not in front of him. She got up to throw away the trash and grab an extra napkin. When she returned, Lucas was still sitting there, playing with his soda straw. Before she could say anything to cheer him up, Lucas whispered, "I really wanted that cake, Mom." Anna opened her mouth to reply, but a familiar voice interrupted her. It was the waitress returning to the table. Her countenance was hard, impatient. "Sorry, ma'am, just to let you know. The payment hasn't been processed yet. There are $6.45 missing." Anna froze. She was sure she had already paid. She opened her wallet with trembling hands. Nothing but a few coins scattered around. "I think I've already. It must have been a mistake," she muttered, trying to contain the panic rising in her throat. The clerk rolled her eyes. "It may have been, but the amount is still outstanding." Anna's face burned with shame. The few tables around suddenly seemed to be closer together. Curious eyes were on her. Lucas stared at her, confused and worried. The silence was suffocating. She rummaged through her purse for the third time. The coins clinked on the table. The metallic sound seemed to echo throughout the restaurant. Her heart was beating so hard that it seemed to be going out of her chest. "Mom, is everything all right?" Lucas asked softly. "Yes, love. Just a minute." The attendant's voice came as a dry blow. "We're $2 short, and just to remind you, the tip is part of the team's salary, okay?" Anna felt the humiliation grow inside her like wildfire. I thought I had enough. She tried to organize the coins on the table, but the bill wouldn't close. Lucas looked at his mother, then at the waitress. "Can we pay later, Mom? Just like when you order food at home?" His innocence was like a punch in the stomach. The attendant didn't even look at him. "It doesn't work like that here, child." Anna struggled not to cry. She tried one last alternative. "I can run and get the money. I live nearby. I'll be back in no time." The attendant let out a cynical laugh. "We've heard that one before. I'll speak to the manager." She turned and went straight to the counter. Anna stood there, paralyzed, feeling the crushing weight of the situation. Then a deep, firm voice broke the silence. Clint Eastwood closed the newspaper he was reading and stood up. His serene but penetrating gaze landed on the attendant. "We seem to have a misunderstanding here." The attendant whispered something to the manager, who glanced straight at Anna's desk. The visual exchange between the two was clear. They were talking about her. When the attendant returned, her expression was even colder. "Mom, the manager said that if you can't pay now, you'll have to leave something as collateral. A document perhaps. Or we could call the authorities." Anna was shocked. "Call the police? For $2? $2 from the tip," corrected the attendant. "And yes, it's protocol. Nothing personal." Lucas tugged at the sleeve of his mother's coat, his eyes wide. "Are we going to be arrested, Mom?" Anna's heart broke. She knelt down beside him. "No, love. Of course not." But before she could say anything else, a firm voice cut through the silence. "Hey, I got it." Anna turned around in surprise. There he was, Clint Eastwood, simply Clint Eastwood, shabby leather jacket, hat tilted over his eyes, and that piercing stare that could make anyone think twice before saying something stupid. "Sorry to intrude, but no one should have to go through this, especially today." Without hurrying, he took his wallet out of his pocket and placed a $50 bill on the counter. "Cover their bill and double the tip." The silence in the restaurant turned into a collective murmur. The waitress froze. The manager approached, not knowing what to do. Clint just looked at him, calm but full of meaning. The kind of look that has ended arguments before they've even begun. Anna was paralyzed. Lucas stared wide-eyed. "Are you the cowboy from TV?" he whispered, almost out of breath. Clint bent down so that he was at the boy's height. "It's your birthday today, isn't it?" Lucas nodded. Clint looked at Anna. "I'm sorry, Mom, but I think every birthday deserves a cake." He turned to the manager, who was now pale as paper. "Is there a cake back there?" "Not even for dessert." The manager swallowed and shook his head rapidly, muttering something about preparing something special. Clint winked at Lucas. "The world needs more paleontologists like you. Happy birthday, champ." Anna couldn't speak. The tears fell before she could hold them back. "I'll sort it out," said Anna, her hands still shaking. She searched her coat pockets again, the bottom of her bag, even the lining, hoping that by some miracle, a forgotten note, a meal voucher, anything would turn up. Nothing. She looked at the clerk, with desperation in her eyes. "Please, I'll be back in 20 minutes. I live nearby, I swear. I wouldn't do this if I had any other choice." The attendant hesitated, but her face soon hardened again. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I've lost money like this before. I can't take the risk." Lucas, who had remained silent until then, looked at her with his eyes shining with tears. "I'm sorry, lady. Today is my birthday. We just wanted to celebrate." The attendant looked away for a second, but then regained her rigid posture. "I'm sorry. But the rules are the rules." Anna closed her eyes and swallowed. It was too much. Shame, frustration, a tightness in her chest that seemed to crush her inside. She stood up, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. "All right. I'll leave my wallet here and come back with the money." The attendant shrugged. "Okay, but make it quick." Anna sighed deeply. She looked at Lucas, trying to smile. "Mom will be right back, okay? Stay right here." Lucas nodded with frightened eyes. Anna ruffled her son's hair, turned and started walking through the restaurant. Each step seemed more difficult than the last. Every look seemed to scream, "on shame." But no one there imagined what was about to happen. While the waitress was organizing something behind the counter, With restrained irritation, Clint Eastwood approached. Calm, safe, as always. Without saying anything, he placed a $100 bill on the counter. The clerk looked at him uncomprehendingly. "Excuse me," said Clint, his voice low but firm. "Can I pay the bill for that girl and her son? And, if possible, include something special for them?" The attendant remained motionless for a moment. Her eyes widened. The manager approached, visibly surprised. "Mr. Eastwood, we, of course, will take care of it. What would you like to add?" Clint thought for a moment. "Today is the boy's birthday. A cake would be nice. We'll take care of it right away," replied the manager, now completely surrendered to the man's generosity. Clint just nodded, and before anyone could pull out a cell phone to take a picture or ask questions, he was already at the door. "Have a nice day," and off he went. A few minutes later, Anna returned with the crumpled notes in her hand, her face still full of worry. She ran to the table, but stopped, surprised. In front of Lucas was a small, fluffy cake, decorated with whipped cream and colored confetti. A lighted candle flickered on top. Lucas smiled. "Look, Mom, the girl brought a cake. She said it was a present." Anna's eyes widened. She sat up slowly, stunned. "A present? From who?" Lucas shrugged happily. "She said someone paid the bill and told me to enjoy my birthday." Anna looked around, confused. And then a thought came to her. She looked towards the restaurant door. The wind rattled the entrance, but Clint Eastwood was no longer there. Anna smiled, her eyes full of water. She would never forget that day. And Lucas? Lucas would grow up knowing that sometimes heroes don't wear capes. They wear hats. Anna called the attendant. "Excuse me." "What? What's going on? I've been out for 2 minutes and..." "There's a cake?" The attendant looked a little disconcerted, but gave a slight smile. "A customer has paid for everything, ma'am, and he asked us to include the cake for his son's birthday." Anna blinked a few times, trying to understand. "A customer?" The attendant leaned in a little, like someone sharing a secret. "Clint Eastwood. He asked how you were, but..." It was him. Anna's eyes widened. "Clint Eastwood?" The clerk nodded. Anna remained silent, trying to process. She looked at Lucas, who was now savoring his first slice of cake with the most genuine purity in the world. "Clint Eastwood," he muttered, as if he still couldn't believe it. And there, in the midst of the emotional maelstrom, the humiliation turned into something else. Something softer, more human. A silent gesture can save a day. And maybe change lives. Why would someone like him do that? Anna asked, still stunned. The attendant smiled slightly. Maybe because he's simply a good person. Anna leaned back in her chair, watching Lucas savor each piece of the small birthday cake. The sparkle in his eyes, the simple joy of an unforgettable moment, said it all. "Mom, do you think he's a superhero?" Lucas asked, looking at her expectantly. Anna smiled, wiping away a stubborn tear. "I think that sometimes ordinary people do things that seem like superhero stuff, son. And today, I think he was ours." Lucas went back to eating, wiggling his little legs under the table, happy as only a child can be. Anna took one last look at the restaurant door. Part of her expected to see him there, perhaps waving. But Clint had already gone, leaving behind something much bigger than a paid bill or a cake. He had left hope. That same evening, back in the small apartment they called home, Anna couldn't get it out of her head. Lucas was playing on the floor with his plastic dinosaurs, humming softly. Anna was sitting at the kitchen table, looking at the $2 still in her wallet, untouched. "Clint Eastwood," she whispered. It was almost unbelievable. He had turned a day of shame into a moment of dignity and tenderness. Lucas appeared in the kitchen doorway, smiling. "Mom, today was the best birthday of my life." Anna laughed, wiping away another tear. "And it was only the beginning, champ. Do you think that boy will come back? What brought the cake?" Anna sighed thoughtfully. "I don't know, son. But even if he doesn't come back, he's already done something very special. And that, no one can take away from us." Lucas nodded, convinced. When I grow up, I want to be like him. I want to help people too. Anna hugged him tightly. And you will, my love. I'm sure of it. The next morning, with Lucas at school, Anna organized the kitchen. She sat down with her old laptop and opened the job websites again. More of the same. Impossible hours. Tight salaries. She sighed, about to close the tab. That's when the phone rang. Hello? Good morning. Are you Anna Mendez? Yes. Who is this? Ricardo Souza. I'm the manager of a supermarket in the city. I was in the same restaurant as you yesterday. I saw everything that happened. Anna froze for a moment. You were there? Yes. And I was impressed by the way you handled the situation. It was a difficult time, but you stood firm for your son. That told me a lot about you. Anna swallowed. Wow, thank you. But why are you calling me? We're hiring at the supermarket. Customer service, flexible hours, above average pay and health insurance. Anna's eyes filled with tears. Are you offering me an interview? Yes. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll send you the address, okay? Of course, I'll be there. Thank you very, very much. No need to thank me. Just show up. I think you have a lot to offer. When he hung up, Anna remained still, absorbing it all. For the first time in a long time, something good was happening, and she didn't have to fight the world for it. In the afternoon, when Lucas came home from school, Anna was waiting for him with such a bright smile that he dropped his backpack and ran to her. Mom, why are you so happy? She knelt down, holding his little hands. Do you remember the man who brought your cake yesterday? Of course. It was the best day of my life. Anna smiled, her eyes shining. That gesture of his changed everything. Tomorrow, I'm going for a job interview. If it works out, it'll be the start of a new phase for us. Lucas's eyes widened with excitement. So, he's helped us twice? Yes, son. And maybe he doesn't even know it, but it made all the difference. Lucas smiled broadly. Anna looked around the small apartment, at the open window and the sun streaming in. That day brought us more than a birthday cake. She paused, lightly squeezing her son's hand. It brought us a fresh start. Lucas nodded, convinced. And hope? Anna smiled. Yes, my love. And hope. And he wants to offer me a job. Lucas's eyes lit up. Really, Mom? That's incredible. Yes, my love. If all goes well, I'll have a new job. One that will help us a lot. Lucas hugged her as tightly as he could. I knew everything would work out, Mom. It's because of the cake guy, isn't it? He's like an angel. Anna laughed, thrilled. Maybe he is, son. Maybe he is. Across town, Clint Eastwood was sitting in a simple cafe, drinking a coffee and reading a book. He had returned to Taco Bell the day before to escape the spotlight for a while. He was looking for a moment of normality, just like anyone else. But when he saw Anna and Lucas in trouble, he couldn't just watch. He didn't expect thanks. For him, it was just a gesture. Something that anyone could, and perhaps should, do. The waiter approached with the bill. Here you are, Mr. Eastwood. I'm a big fan of your work. I just wanted to say that. Clint smiled kindly. Thank you. And you do a great job here, you know that? As he looked around the cafeteria, he noticed a father helping his son cut up the food. A waitress smiling at an elderly and lonely customer. Small gestures. Clint took a deep breath. It's these little things that make the world go round. He left a generous tip on the table and stood up, ready to go on his way. Before leaving, he turned to the waiter and said, "Keep it up. You make a difference." And then he left, walking down the street, his soul light. He knew he couldn't change the whole world, but he could change someone's world, and that was enough. That was the story of how a simple gesture of kindness can transform lives. Now I ask you, do you believe that small actions can change the course of a life? And if it were you in Clint's place, what would you do? Leave your answer in the comments. And if you know someone who needs to hear this today, share this video. Oh, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories that bring out the best in humanity. Want to keep getting inspired? Click on one of the videos here and be moved by another story that could change the way you see the world. See you in the next video.